Hi, I'm Britt.
And my name is Alissa.
And this is SkeleTales.
And this is a podcast where we attempt to answer the age-old question of, is my dead grandma watching me?
But we also talk about supernatural, spooky dooky.
Spooky dooky. Paranormal. Extraterrestrial.
If it is weird and cool, I want to hear about it.
Yeah, doppelgangers.
Yes.
Have you met somebody in a foreign country that looks identical to you? Anything just weird and out of place. Like it doesn't, we do a lot of ghost stories. We are not limited to ghost stories. We're always looking for the near-death experiences. I am. Or like, have you ever like eaten ayahuasca and like gone on a crazy trip? And like, I want to hear some ayahuasca
for a trip story.
Like,
yeah.
crazy stories.
Do you want to hear a crazy kind of doppelgangery? Nope, doppelgangery. A doppelganger story-ish.
Yes.
When I was 16, I was working at a natural health food store. And I am 6 foot tall, as we have established here on the podcast. At this particular time, I had really short hair, and I didn't want to look entirely like a boy, so I kept dyeing it different colors, so people would be like, oh, pink
funky girl. Look at that. Edgy.
Yeah, right.
Pink-haired girl.
At this particular time, I had bright blue hair. And I'm in one of the aisles doing something, and someone comes up and they're like, "Oh, Jessie!" And I look over and I was like, "No." And I was like, no, I'm not Jessie." But I thought about it. I was like, is there another 6 foot tall, blue haired female out there? Like, what are the chances?
Well,
yeah.
Jessie
really
is not a wholly
oh shit! It could have been. Oh shit, it was probably a boy.
Dude. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to burst your bubble there.
I
Britt.
did. Well, truth be told, I just made that up off the top of my head. I don't remember what name they called me. It could have been
okay. It could have been
Jessica.
Like Stephanie. Something
I don't remember.
Female.
That is a nice twist. I actually can't remember the name. I wish I did know.
I have been told I look like Madonna several times in my life. Maybe. Also, yeah, I don't know. People see something that I don't see often. Sometimes I could see certain angles. I have seen the Madonna take. Do you remember that singer Natalie Imbruglia?
What's her name? Natalie
Imbruglia.
Imbruglia.
And I had very short hair for a time. That coincided with that song being like...
Oh, absolutely. I can see this.
I was very flattered by that one. I was very happy.
She's gorgeous. And you're gorgeous.
Comparison.
I see it.
Oh, thank you. Okay, well then
you guys
the
have
third...
those nice angular features. Oh, third. Okay.
Pointy, dark hair, blue eyes. The third one that I've heard more than once, unfortunately, is that I look like Hillary Clinton.
Oh, God, no. From more than once?
More than once. I don't know.
Sorry, I don't see that.
That one is not as flattering. And
I had a friend recently. She was like, "Have you been watching this? Not the British Bake Off. It's British. They're doing something, painting. I don't know. It's like the British Bake Off." And I was like, "No, I haven't been watching it." And she's like, "You look just like this one character." And she sent me a screenshot. Oh, hag.
No.
Snaggletooth for days. Like the most like crazy droopy face. I was like, I'm a beast. No.
Oh my God. Never
I mean, not to body shame people with snaggly teeth and droopy faces, but it's not a compliment.
Unless
people.
it's not a gorgeous celebrity. Like,
No,
hold your tongue.
don't.
Just don't. Think it to yourself and be like, wow, that person really reminds me of Rodney Dangerfield. They don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear.
Nobody
What's a more
wants to be told they look
contemporary,
like that guy?
like Jonah Hill or something? You know, like I don't know. I don't want to
You
shame
can even
anybody.
say I
but
look
just
like a sexy man. I'll take a sexy man over like
you
snaggletooth
look like
British lady.
James Charles. There we go. I think I finally threw a relevant. Oh, see,
Wait.
it's so hip, and you don't know who that is. He's a famous YouTuber who like.
Oh,
He's a very beautiful YouTuber. I believe he's gay,
what
but he
does
does makeup.
do? Oh, he does makeup.
you
Yeah, I
I-
probably wouldn't know that.
You don't
person.
look like James Charles, but I was just trying to throw out a more contemporary comparison. Rodney Dangerfield, like, I mean, I know a good part of our listeners do know who that is, but in case any young hip kids stumble upon the
Oh,
podcast.
James Charles is sexy.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
there we go.
I wish I looked like him for sure. Okay.
I think the times I got the
Wow,
Hillary Clinton, I was like a checkout girl at a Wegmans, a grocery store, like 15 years old. Like the last thing I want to be compared to is Hillary Clinton.
I mean, okay, there are worse out there for sure. But no, you don't though. That's just a solid fact that you just don't look like her.
Yeah, thank you.
Maybe what they were getting from you is a strong, confident female vibe. That's
what it is.
What they were. You know what? Your vibe is very Hillary. Maybe that's what they were
Has anyone
going
ever told you you have a very Hillary vibe? All right, I guess I'll take it. I will take it. Talking about unflattering things that people say. Unflatter. And this is actually playing off Mitch just right before this coming. I was in the kitchen grabbing my cup, and he's like, "You look really nice from the knee down." I was like, "What? What do you mean from the knee down?" He's always throwing out qualifiers.
The fuck
like,
no!
Yeah, with my socks match. He's like, "You look
No!
really good in this light." Like, there's always these things that he thinks are like, no, you focus on what you left out, not what you are complimenting. Like you were in other lights.
Now that we're dishing on husband things, last Monday, a week ago today, in my exercise, social distance exercise outdoor thing, I was like, a woman asked me if I was pregnant.
Don't do that. No,
we're in a fucking exercise group. I'm just fat. No. I hope she doesn't listen.
You know,
but here's the kicker.
Wait,
here's the kicker. I was like, everyone makes mistakes. It's fine. No, I'm not. I come home and I was like, Mike, can you believe somebody asked if I was pregnant? And he was like, oh man, I'm so sorry. That's really rough. And I waited. I was like, this is the part where you tell me I don't look fucking pregnant. And he didn't.
Oh, he didn't even, he just was like,
well,
she's
I
kinda
didn't
right.
say that out loud. I just waited. I was like, oh my God. I texted my friend. I was like, he didn't say I didn't look pregnant. Am I fucking doing that? Oh my God.
He knows that silence means, he knows.
You're missing something.
Yes. That is terrible. You know that lady felt terrible as well. Like,
well, good. I hope she felt like shit. Sorry.
I've witnessed someone do that where they asked someone if they're pregnant and they were not. And it was like so cringy. It was so bad. It was like both parties feel just decimated with shame
there was a
and
meme
guilt and embarrassment.
There was a meme that was like, when you should ask a woman if she's pregnant. And it shows a little bump. No. Big bump. No. Like full on pregnant. No. And then the last picture is her pushing a baby out of her vagina. And it says, maybe. You can maybe now ask her if she's pregnant.
Yes.
Just don't do it. There's no conversation that you need to have about
Worth
that.
it. I finally asked Milo's speech teacher, like about 30 weeks after I suspected she was pregnant, to when I finally was like, are you expecting? And every week I watch, she's like, yes, I am, a little boy. And I was like, even as it was coming out of my mouth, I was like, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Why am I saying this? No. And thank God Thank God. My relief was palpable. I was like, I think I told her, I was like, oh, Jesus. I'm so happy.
Alissa, what?
Britt,
You've got a story. I
do have a story.
I heard you have one.
And this story is from Valerie. And Valerie says, it was 1996. I had just turned 16 and I spent most of my time hanging out instead of going to school. My friends and I all felt a super weird energy that year. We repeatedly called it Twilight Zone 96 throughout the entire year. That fall, I think it was mid-October, I took a ride with a friend of mine to meet another friend of ours at the park. I think we were going to get stoned. It was a Tuesday afternoon. Yeah, come on. Tuesday afternoon around 1 p.m. That's the perfect time in 96 to get stoned. Probably listen to some like Dave Matthews Band or something. Like, yeah, probably. I think I nailed it. I don't even need to pontiff. I was never a fan, but a lot of people were. 96, no effects, Pennywise, very punky, but like
Alanis Morissette.
A lot. Yeah, Alanis Morissette was going strong. 96. Okay.
We're there. We're in this car. We're going to the park
from the 90s.
Mid-90s.
I hope that you were listening to at least one of those bands then. Okay, so they were took a ride with a friend of mine to meet another friend around 1 p.m. We were supposed to be in class. We pulled into the parking lot and we were the only car there. We parked at the edge of the lot and she turned off the engine, keeping only the radio on. It was a super bleak day and there were leaves all over the ground surrounding the car. The music was on really low and we just chatted, waiting. I remember a strange sensation coming over me while we waited, and then a strong breeze picked up. The leaves around the car started dancing and swirling, and it built up more and more until the leaves were swirling around the car right at window height, as if there was some sort of vacuum above us. She and I sat and watched.
Were they already stoned? Because that feels like...
I imagine they get right down to business. It was not, high schoolers probably like had their little Apple pipe or whatever they're using.
When you're stoned too, you're noticing nature more. I do.
That's true. The leaves around the car started dancing and swirling, and it built up more and more until the leaves were swirling around the car right at window height, as if there was some sort of vacuum above us. She and I sat and watched the swirling, both mesmerized by the patterns and speed of their spinning. It lasted for what seemed to be 10 to 15 minutes, and then all of a sudden, the leaves just dropped to the ground, and everything was eerily silent.
10 to 15 minutes? That's a while.
Yeah, it is. That's, a lot of swirling, 10 to 15 minutes. She didn't act like it was a tornado, but it was.
And then dead still.
Intense, yeah, and then dead still. She and I looked at each other and giggled. I remember her saying, "We're not even stoned, but that was weird." Oh, well, I guess they hadn't gotten around to business.
That whole conversation and they weren't even stoned.
Okay. I laughed and agreed, and then asked her what time our friend was supposed to be there. She said, like 1:30. I hit the button on the radio, which was no longer playing music, but was still showing the radio station numbers on the display, and the clock said 5:30 p.m. I looked at it again to make sure, and I thought that her car radio must be wrong. So I asked her what time it was. She looked at the radio and said, 5:30? That can't be right. I agreed, and she dug through her purse.
And they'd gotten there at 1, right?
1 o'clock in the afternoon. I agreed, and she dug through her purse for the watch that she had taken off earlier. It also said 5:30 p.m. We both nervously laughed and agreed that we should get the hell out of there. She pulled away and drove down the parkway toward the main road. As we turned the corner, the bank's large clock read 5:34 p.m. in front of us. Somehow we had lost 4.5 hours in the swirling leaves, which felt like 15 minutes in the fall of Twilight Zone 96. What? It's that good.
That's wild. And they weren't even stoned. Like,
apparently
my
not.
number one answer was like, well, you were just stoned. Oh, man. And they were, That is fascinating. That is fascinating.
So I actually asked her, like, whatever happened to the friend who was coming to look for you, you know, like, because you were supposed to meet a friend at 1:30.
Right.
And she's like, oh, she just totally spaced it. We were stoners.
Oh, that would have been interesting if they were like, yeah, we got there and nobody was there because the car was just...
That would be awesome. So like a time warp, right? Like, okay, so it could just be time travel. It could be an abduction of some sort, Britt.
Oh, and their memory is erased.
Yeah, the wind swirling and stuff. I mean, 4 hours is a good chunk of time to lose.
That they even were calling that whole year like the twilight, what do they say? The twilight zone of 96 or whatever. Like, oh, that's so interesting.
They definitely never saw 2020 coming. That's for sure. Because if ever there were a year. And into 20, it just keeps on trucking, really.
Keeps on giving.
Actually, that might have been the year that Jerry Garcia died. Now that I said keep on trucking. But they're listening to some Grateful Dead. They were listening to the radio. I'm kind of curious.
See, that would have been a good one to have on the radio to chill out with.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Yep.
We'll
say that one. We've solved that problem.
what was on the radio during this time? I think we solved that. Valerie, let us know. So I had a similar experience in high school where there was this road called Plank Road out in Victor, New York. And supposedly it was haunted by a Silverado. And if a Silverado passed you on that road, you were going to like die or get in an accident. I can't remember exactly. I tried to like find out from other people.
A Silverado
truck.
Okay.
Yeah. And then there was like an old abandoned house. But the whole deal was that, and there was like a broke down Silverado apparently at this house. I just remember being taken there late at night one night, and you're supposed to drive like 20 miles an hour down this road to see the Silverado. And we went out there at like 9 o'clock or something, and we drove down this road, which was a short while. And all of a sudden it was like 12:30 in the morning. We are all past our curfew. We're like, what the fuck happened? We were all like, oh, like it was a similar thing.
And you just drove a short bit of road and 3 hours vanished.
Essentially, that's what it felt like. But I don't know. Yes. I mean, and we were all like, oh my God.
You stoned? No.
Because I was straight edge.
Aw.
Definitely, I did not. No, I definitely was not at that point. But I was, I think it was probably because we were driving like 5 miles an hour down this road. It took like,
but for 3 hours, that doesn't feel.
It was the same, but it was the same reaction where it was like, what happened to time? And of course, I think we were trying to look like we went there to be spooked and haunted. And then there was this inexplicable passing of time that occurred that we were like, oh, it's the ghost of the Silverado.
Oh man, if I owned a Silverado, I would just fuck with so many kids.
Just troll that street. That's a good point. Oh man. If anyone is listening in the Rochester area and that is still an ongoing like urban legend about Plank Road, yeah, you should totally go do that. Just totally.
Oh yeah, I want to hear that. I want to hear a good
down in a Silverado.
Story.
Put on your lights. Wear a mask.
So I have a story tonight. This one was sent in by my friend Esther. I met Esther on the school playground, and it took a while to introduce myself to Esther because she's so cool. She's the kind of mom that's like always put together in like the slickest vintage outfits. Ooh. And she has her hair always in like there's one time she came and she had this like really short bang and her hair just looked like so, like it was just done so professional. I was like, Esther, God, you look so good. And she was like, oh my God, I just chopped all my bangs off. And she can pull it off. I would chop my bangs off and I would look like a little boy, but she doesn't. And she looks like the hippest mom on the planet.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I thought you were talking about as a child. Esther was a childhood friend. You met her on the school playground, your children's school playground, is what you're saying.
Sorry. Yeah, I should have clarified. No, I met her just a couple years ago, but she's awesome.
Because I would venture to say that with a name like Esther, you weren't the coolest kid on the playground as a child. Sorry, Esther. Going to make some assumptions. And if you're a cool adult, also
no, man, Esther's been cool since birth. And even her kids, because it's just that kind of just like easy nature, but also really cool. I don't know.
Okay, Esther, let us know. I think you're a dork as a kid. Prove me wrong. My prediction.
Alissa, you're the worst. Okay.
The worst, no wonder. I look like Hillary Clinton, so that's
That's your excuse.
Yeah, that's also why I'm a dick.
Okay, Esther wrote in, so I'm going to be reading this one. After my father passed away this past April 2020, because of quarantine rules, we could not have a funeral or wake. Oh. So I, my mother, 4 of my 5 sisters, and my kids went to stay together in a friend's Airbnb about an hour away. It was totally haunted. 2 of my sisters separately heard and saw a dog in the cabin before I arrived with my kids. Growls, panting, corner of the eye movement, which we did not talk about until after our stay. Ooh. Within minutes of my arrival, my 9-year-old son asked about the dog inside, to which I replied, "There isn't a dog. No one actually lives here. It's Airbnb." Later, my daughter, who's 7, heard a dog whine in the kitchen, and my baby was obsessed with a particular spot on the stairs. I saw an animal in the trees in full daylight, but couldn't tell what it was, so I assumed it was a deer in the trees.
Oh, yeah,
maybe not deer. In the top of the tree, but maybe in the trees forest. Okay, if it was a deer up in a tree,
that would be unusual.
Worthy of writing in about.
Yes. I'd like to hear about that.
That night, adults are getting ready to get in the hot tub. My kids, at this point, are asleep in a little open loft area, so we have to tiptoe around them. My son sleepily turns to my sister as she's sneaking past him and says, "Aunt Hannah, watch out for the dog at the bottom of the stairs." What? And then she writes, "Not creepy at all." When everyone was done swimming, we all returned to our rooms. Lights out in living rooms and kitchen, totally quiet. I was trying to quietly get comfortable without waking my youngest, who was sleeping with me, and I was just about to click off my lamp when I felt a sense of dread and fear. It was so abrupt that I just froze and sat there on the edge of the bed. And then she says, "Side note, I love good old scary movies, and I felt the wave of fear. The scene from the original Haunting came to mind." She says it's the scene where 2 women are in their room together and there's something right outside the door.
I have not seen that, no.
Suddenly, I hear a door being quickly opened, almost slammed open, rather loudly across the house. As I'm sitting, still frozen, wondering if I made it up or if I'd need to check on my children, one of my sisters knocks on my door and pops her head in and says, "Someone just tried to get in my room." They turned the handle quietly. I saw the handle turn, so I said, "Hello?" And then my door slammed open. I came to check on the kids. I figured they were playing a trick, but they were all totally asleep. She and I both rechecked the kids, who were sound asleep, and I went to our own rooms, where neither of us slept well. Spooky? Yes.
Oh my God. That's crazy. I want to go stay at this Airbnb now. Where was that? In Texas?
So I asked some follow-up questions because it's a good story. So this is right outside of Austin in a city called Burnett near the lake. And I asked her if it was like a super old house. And she said that it had some like 70s architectural vibes. But I mean, I guess 70s is pretty old. Like a lot of stuff could happen there. And so she says one of my sisters saw what she thought was a dog inside the house before they even unlocked it and came inside. And there were a lot of windows. And so she brushed it off and said that she never saw anything. And then her other sister heard a dog breathing, panting, and snorting at 2 separate times inside the house. But the dog was never heard upstairs. It was always near the kitchen or the bottom of the stairs. Yeah.
I love how there's multiple sightings, multiple things that happen. Because, like, I get that, like, fear in me but it's my own brain doing that. Like, ugh. And I try to be aware of it and calm myself down. But to get that fear, then hear a door slam, then have your sister come and be like,
like it's a legitimate.
That is so scary. And it's a dog, like the kid seeing the dog. I wonder how many like people and all the shit I interacted with as a kid, possibly that was just a ghost and I didn't know any better, you know, because
like Alissa and Jada. She just said no, Jada's not real.
That little kid was just like, watch out for the dog.
I think there's 2 separate. I think there's the dog that's just hanging in the house. Obviously, like a very strong, like able to like visualize and pant and stuff. But then I think it sounds like there also is an strange, evil, dark presence that was like, but slamming into somebody's room. Like, I'm just so curious to hear the sister side where it's like when somebody slams the door open and is clearly like intruding your bedroom, like, I don't know. It's so freaky to me.
Did they look at the Airbnb reviews? Did anyone else have any experiences at this house?
Oh,
that's
a good question. I'm writing that down to ask her. I'll get back with you on that.
We stayed in an Airbnb recently in Montana to avoid hotels and whatnot, you know, with the pandemic. And it wasn't haunted, but there was a very strong chemical odor in it that I was very disappointed with. And I did not.
Did you leave that review?
I didn't leave the review, but I let him know. Like, I got a nosebleed from both of my nostrils. It burnt. It burnt my like airways. It burnt my
They must have been using like industrial strength.
I prefer the freaking ghost.
There.
Yeah, bring me a ghost dog and leave the fucking mop and glow or some shit, whatever the hell that you had going there. Because like literally bloody nose from both nostrils. That's not normal. I am so goddamn sensitive. Why do I not see ghosts? This is not fair. I got this. Like, I'm so sensitive.
You're smelling them constantly. You're ingesting them through your olfactory.
Yeah, or maybe they had like evil spirits cleansed or something right before we got there because of an evil entity. And as we discussed a couple episodes ago, I might be the evil. It might be me. No. How if you smudge and the evil spirits like
you get a nosebleed?
Yes. Like,
oh yeah, your like throat started bleeding or something, right?
It's like I coughed up blood. So with the sage. So maybe someone was waving crystals around and I was like, I can't be in
here. The demon can't handle it.
Yeah, it was like a free exorcism.
Oh, no. Oh. The Hillary demon coming to stay there.
Please get her out. Get her out. Maybe that's what people are seeing. Man, Esther, you seem like a real cool chick.
She's seriously the coolest.
And the dog hunting, like that's an interesting thing. Like,
I want my dogs to haunt me. I want my dead dogs to haunt me.
I feel like a dog is such a loyal companion, right? Like, it
maybe they
feels
are.
Like,
oh, I was telling you in the other previous episode, which number I don't remember, though, that I was the sleepy time one where I was having feelings that something's in this corner. Maybe it was my meter sir, my Klaus, is hanging out. And that's why my other dog is like, hey, dog.
It might be. It definitely could be little
That
Klaus.
sounds better than like a dark spirit hanging out staring at me. I'll take my old dog.
Oh, little Klaus. He's very cute. He didn't shit on my floor once. Not even once. Nico.
So he wins your heart.
Oh.
No, we're not going into dog shit stories. All right, what's your next one?
I had a dream about dog shitting last night. I don't want to talk about dreams, but the dream involved dog shitting, and everyone's dog shit on this plate. I don't know what my dreams are. So fascinating. Anyway, my next story, not about dog shit. Okay, my next story I found on a Facebook group that I am a member of. It's like paranormal hauntings, something. Such a great plug.
Be in that group.
But then you're going to steal all my stories. The name of it is Land of the Hauntings. That's not the name. So someone asks, has anyone here had a near-death experience or a situation like mine where you are in deep trouble, literally drowning, and someone, maybe a guardian angel, saved your life? This, because I can't get enough of the NDEs.
Yes, I'm all about them too. Not as much as you, but I love a good NDE. All right, I am ready.
So this happened to me on a school excursion when I was 9. Bowled over by a wave, taken out to sea, and pulled under. Couldn't swim and was fighting to get to the surface, but the current was too strong. I felt my strength waning and my lungs filling and literally saw my short life flash before me. I was convinced I was dying and I was at peace with it. The struggle and panic stopped and everything was becoming quiet and black. Then, just as I was blacking out to begin my journey, I felt a strong hand reach in and grab mine and yanked me to the surface. No lifeguard, no nothing. There was no physical person. My idiot friends on the shore confirmed it as they saw the whole thing happen, but did nothing. LOL. Spluttering, I managed to get to shore, and to this day, am convinced it was a guardian angel saving me.
Whoa! Oh my gosh. My mom has a very similar story to this.
Really?
But she doesn't die. She doesn't black out or anything. Yeah, she's at the ocean and she's, I don't remember how old she is. She's a kid. And she was swept under these really intense waves. And same thing where she was just like, I can't get up. The undertow was taking her. And then she heard a voice in her head. And I hope I got this right. She'll correct me if I'm wrong. That basically was just like, stop fighting and just let go. And so she like relaxed her muscles and like, it instantly, the waves like took her back up to the surface and she was like able to like get back to the shore. It wasn't anybody like, but she clearly was just like somebody told her what to do. I'll have to double check that. But yes, that's so cool. I love that.
My aunt has been like told me a story about driving and where she was like almost in an accident. She's like, I felt somebody grab the wheel and pull it in the opposite direction. Like I have no doubt that there are guardian angels out there.
Yes.
But your mom's story about the ocean. So I grew up going to the Jersey Shore because that's where my grandfather lived and my grandmother.
Yeah.
And so we would go on vacation every year, usually once a summer, to the Jersey Shore. There's always an adventure. Sometimes it was like a bunch of money fell into the ocean in Atlantic City and it was washing up on the Jersey Shore. Then one summer it was like syringes, like a bunch of medical waste.
Shit. Not as cool as money.
Ocean and was washing up. And so that summer we weren't supposed to go in the water really. Like, so that summer though, I got stuck
by a dirty syringe.
Right. I didn't get stuck by a dirty syringe. I got stuck. I knew I wasn't supposed to go under. We were only supposed to stay very like close to the shore and ankle deep or something. But like a wave knocked me over and I had like this surfboard and it I got stuck under it, like the suction from the surfboard, like got me stuck under, and I was completely panicking. I was like, I'm not supposed to be underwater. The needles are gonna come in my mouth. Oh Lord. Oh, Britt.
I'm rubbing out on you.
The needle. Don't laugh at me. The needles are
right, needles coming in your mouth.
The medical waste. It's gonna get me. No guardian. I saved my own ass. That's how I roll. No guardian angels. I pushed.
You're
up.
your own guardian angel.
I guess, but that's the precarious the life on the Jersey Shore, which is actually very, very beautiful. I've had a wonderful time.
I feel like someone could make a TV show about that or something.
I know. Why doesn't anyone ever make a TV show about hanging out on the Jersey Shore? Yeah, I feel like it would. People might. I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't. No, maybe it wouldn't sell. Okay. So, and because this person was asking a question while sharing her own story.
Oh, more stories.
A fellow named John obliges the request and says, in 2003, I was held hostage for 9 hours, tortured, and shot 3 times. I was air evacuated to a hospital where I had to have life-saving surgery.
Holy shit!
Yeah, I mean, it's intense. And so he goes on to say that while in ICU, I had an older black man in a black suit and hat that came and visited me daily. I never questioned him because he was so nice and comforting. Then I realized only family was allowed in. When I told my family, they looked at me like I was crazy. He held my hand daily and stood by me and calmed the fears that were tormenting me and still do. I believe he was and still is my angel. Not necessarily a near death, but close enough. Do you have goosebumps? I have goosebumps.
I
reading this. I already read it once.
So
much. Okay. I believe one day I will meet him again and feel the love that he radiated. He was never in the room when my family was, and then it dawned on me. Wait, they wouldn't even let my best friend or my boss in to see me. Who was he?
And then the sheer fact that he was just a comforting force to him. It wasn't like, oh, hello, strange weirdo holding my hand. Like, it was just a very natural, comforting, like,
he belongs here. Right?
Totally. Oh, that's so cool.
That's when it hit me, a blanket of comfort. I still think of that and get comfort from it when I have an anxiety attack from my PTSD. There's angels everywhere. We just have to be open to them or be in a condition where they will show themselves, their love and their comfort. I hope when I pass, he will be there to greet me so I can thank him for the peace he gave me while I was lying there, unable to speak or move and not sure if I was going to live, scared to death.
I love that so much.
Isn't it? Oh. Okay, so
his guardian angel is so dapper in a black suit and hat. Hell yeah!
Well, he also sounds like the Kane from the Poltergeist. Like that's the suit. Like I feel like they kind of nailed it. The afterlife, dude. Poltergeist. Like if this is really what they look like. So the skeptic in me is like, all right, bro, how's that morphine? How's that morphine hitting you, Mr. Several bullet holes? But if he was so out of it, I mean, he remembers his family. He remembers his he couldn't even get his friends in there or anything. Like, so he was cognizant enough to know when people were visiting him or who couldn't visit him.
But here's the thing: even if it was a hallucination, the feeling was there. The comfort was there. The idea that there is somebody here holding your hand, comforting you. Like that was, even if the visualization was a hallucination, the feeling was not. I think he saw it for real.
You got real deep there. That was very philosophical of you, Britt, and my brain. I just said Rocky Rottens earlier. That's where I'm at, calling them Rocky Mountains.
So I was not going to tell this story tonight, but I'm going to tell it after this story right now. It's a guardian angel story, though.
I guess
So it
these
goes
are
along.
guardian angel stories. I thought it was near-death experience, but I think it's actually guardian angels.
I think it might be.
I think it is.
I think it might be. So this happened before I was even born. And it was before my dad even met my mom. My dad was married before he met my mom and had my older brother, Doug, and my sister, Jen. And him and his first wife had separated. So he's a single dad with a 3-year-old daughter. And how old would I be? 5, like young kids. And this particular night, my sister's 3 and sleeping in the bed with him at night. And he wakes up in the middle of the night and she is thrashing around, just having the worst nightmare. And almost, he said, it was almost like she was even kind of possessed in a way, where it's just like, just thrashing and thrashing. And he sees a dark shadow come in from the window above their bed, and it's kind of hovering over my sister, and my sister is thrashing and just she's clearly in distress. And he doesn't know what to do. And so he said, I think he's praying, and he's just saying, go away, get out of here. And then he looks over and he sees 2 women in the room. They're spirit forms, he said. So they're not like actual physical beings. He doesn't think there's physical. They're spirit women. And he said that they were dressed like in 60s attire, like 60s hairdos and stuff. And I don't know the specifics from here, but they say something or do something, and directly to this dark force, and it goes back out the window.
What?
And then my sister completely settles down back into sleep, and he's looking at this go out the window, and he looks over to the room and the women are gone, and she's like at peace again.
You know what they used?
What?
Flower power.
Oh, because of the 60s.
That's all I could think of.
Peace.
I'm picturing Scooby-Doo for some reason as well, and flower power.
That's so funny. In my head, I'm thinking of middle-aged women with beehive hairdos and these lime green suits.
See,
who knows? I don't know.
I'm sure it wasn't flower power. It sounds like something more guardian angel power.
But so my dad's passed away. You know this, but I'll tell the listeners. My dad's passed away, so I can't ask him for the details. But I talked with my mom because I was like, this is a fate. Dad's told this story many times because it has stuck in his brain. Obviously, it's kind of a big thing to witness. Yeah. And she's the one who told me about the women from the 60s. I hadn't remembered that from when I was told. And I was like, did he recognize them? Who were they? Were they family from the past or whatever? And she was like, he had no idea who they were.
That's so interesting. That also makes me feel like there is some maybe unknown battle between good and evil that is always being fought, that
and we just have no idea.
We're not aware of it.
Yes.
Did your dad have a lot of spiritual experiences? Did he see a lot of ghosts or something? Because both of your parents.
He had a few. He had a handful, but it was always I want to say that he only told us of maybe 3. There was one other one, and I don't know the details, so I'm not going to tell the whole story because I don't know, but it was at my grandmother's deathbed, and she was days away from dying, and he was sitting in the room with her, and I think that it was just her and him and maybe his sister, my aunt, in the room. And then I can't remember if he actually saw the room fill up with like spirits or if he just felt like the whole room was so crowded and it was just overwhelming. The amount of people where it's like, oh, I just can't even move around. There's so many people in the room right now. And I can't remember if he actually saw them or if he just felt it. But that was one that he had told us as kids.
Okay.
Cool.
Now, listeners, dear listeners, I want to hear some like deathbed experiences. Like, have you been in the room and experienced something? Have you, or like hospice nurses, like so many hospice nurses, they're like,
they've got great stories.
Like, I'd like to hear some like signs from beyond the grave or at the time of death. Okay, Britt.
Oh, I have another story. Okay, this is short and sweet. This one comes from friend of the podcast, Lisa. You may know Lisa from such things. If you follow us on social media, do that, by the way, follow us. We had a giveaway couple of weeks ago. God. Time is weird. I don't know.
We're high in that car with the leaves swirling around. It is all the time work. What? It's March? How'd that happen?
Lisa hand sewed a creepy doll for us. It was a 2 foot tall doll that I will say that I am obsessed with and super jealous that somebody else has it now.
Seriously,
but I will just have to
pretending
respect.
It was not given as part of the giveaway
I almost was like, we'll just erase that. We'll just edit that doll out so I can keep it.
I don't know what happened.
I lost in the mail.
It didn't come. Meanwhile, you're snuggling it at night.
It is. I loved her so much. So
very
awesome.
Talented.
So creepy, but so I got good vibes from her. Okay. Anyways, creepy dolls. That is not what this story is about. Lisa writes, I had a really crazy insect occurrence that happened to me and my mom when I was 12. Will never forget. Can't find an explanation at a quick look on Google of the insect. So, here it goes. I know it's stupid. I'm sure someone knows of this. And if you do, please let us know, listeners. Here it goes. Okay. We lived in an old house, 70s built, in Duke, Oklahoma, surrounded by cotton fields. This would be about 1987. We never wondered about the history of the house before this day. My mom and I were the only ones home. Normal, midday, hot as hell. Nothing special except we started to notice lots of big flies gathering in one living room window on the inside. Never had this issue before, so that was a little weird, but more annoying. Back then, we just had fly swatters, so we both went to down on those bastards. It was working for a minute. They were all on the windowsill. Then all of a sudden, there would be a few more, and we'd have to kill. Where the fuck were these things coming from? So we killed again and watched to see if we weren't hitting hard enough. One by one, new flies were hatching out of the backs of the old flies.
Shut the fuck up. That is horrifying. That is just stop. I'm very upset by this news.
She says,
I don't even want you to continue. This is it. That's it. Podcast over.
I'm gonna continue.
Done. Erase.
I'm not kidding when I say that the smushed flies' backs were splitting open and a new fly would wriggle out.
Stop it. I just said we were in a horror podcast earlier. Now I'm crying.
We are now. We freaked and opened the window and fanned them all out, even the dead ones we knew that would hatch. Never saw it before or since. I told a couple of people and they laughed at us. So we said we just wouldn't talk about it.
Yes, don't ever
Surely
talk about
it could
this
be
again.
explained.
Stop.
I knew you'd love it. My mom did smoke a lot of weed back then, but I was 12 and we saw it together. So she hadn't smoked the weed.
She's like, Lisa, they're hatching out of the dead bodies. Lisa, dude.
Lisa.
Oh my God.
After the flies, she puts them in quotation, the flies, I had to switch my bedroom to the one closest to my folks on the other side of the house. I was uneasy in the living room side of the house. No kidding.
No fuck.
And she says, I would love to be debunked by this story. What is that? I don't know.
What the fuck? That was just a horrifying. That was the grossest story we've told, I think. It is for sure the grossest story.
It was
because I've never been like, stop talking.
Oh.
So I have not seen full grown flies hatch out of another fly, like they're fucking molting.
No.
That is or like a zombie situation almost, because there is like some sort of parasite that can take over an ant's brain, I believe, or a bee or a wasp. There's some sort of something that can make it happen, and they're like, this is like a zombie thing. It makes these animals into zombies. It takes over their brain.
Yeah. This seems like a very zombie fly. Actually, that was the title that I put for the story, so I'd remember it. Zombie flies.
But at a house we lived previous to this house in Washington State, there was a fly on a window, and Odin smashed the fly on the window and then was like, Mom, there's worms. There's worms all over the window. And I was like, shut up. They're not worms. What are you talking about? Go over, and sure enough, there's fucking little maggots all over the window. Crawling
now that
around.
makes sense to me, because that's what flies do. Flies, like, that's their spawn, are maggots.
But I thought that they
fly,
laid eggs first. I've never killed a fly and had it
maggots.
shoot
Maggots
all
turn
over.
into flies.
I absolutely not
but
debating that.
But I didn't know that the maggots stayed on the fly. I thought it was like they
I thought they laid their eggs place.
They laid them and then left. But the actually full grown flies hatching out of the back of a fly.
So now we've got
that science doesn't make sense.
Before, if I had not had this live maggot story experience happen,
you would have said, "Hell no,
hell no." Your mom was sneaking you some of that reefer too, there, Lisa. Like, she's not the only one that was hanging out.
But like hot as hell. Oklahoma. Who the hell knows any possibility?
Mitch, my husband Mitch, the Peanut Man, we will forever be known as. He, his house. So I was at the house he spoke of a few times before his dad sold it, and his bedroom that we slept in, it was like his old childhood bedroom.
Yeah,
the windowsill full of dead flies, like so many fucking flies, and it was so gross. I was like, why are there so many damn dead flies? It's like, that's just farm life or something, or that they live in the dirt around there
just
and
one window. Yeah,
no, but then spawning out of I don't even know. There's no explanation from that. Lisa, I don't want to solve your problem. I just want it to go away and never be spoken of again.
It's such
I am a little curious.
story.
I'm minorly curious. Dead flies spawning new flies.
I'm super curious. Yeah. Any bug scientists out there? Chime in.
Maybe
now.
they're UFOs.
We're
little
ready.
Aliens, little tiny fly.
Oh
aliens.
my gosh! Stop. No.
Nothing makes sense here. Dead animals sprouting new live animals after death.
Oh, I know. Well, and then at first, when reading the story, she's like, large flies in the window. I'm like, those are just horse flies. And then
wait, so there were large flies and then smaller flies were crawling out of the backs of the large flies? No.
Yes.
It's so upsetting. I hate it so much. I hate it so much. Oh, Lisa, well done, man. Oh, yeah. Will you sew us a fly doll, a baby fly hatching out of a...
No, I don't want that.
Send it to Britt.
But I do want a regular
Britt
doll.
Wants it.
Oh, can I plug? Oh, yeah. Can I plug her business? Do. Okay. So Lisa runs a shop on Etsy called Cult of Dolls. Go over there. Your jaw will drop. They're amazing. Hand sewn. She also runs a business called Make Shop Social, which you can find on Facebook. Make Shop.
You can do it.
That's a tongue twister. Make Shop
Nope.
Social.
Make shop.
Make Shop
social.
Social. Or you can find them on Instagram. Also, Make Shop .social. That one I got. Okay.
I now understand why she makes such disturbing dolls and creative things, Lisa.
I guess when she was 12.
Absolutely.
That was
That's like your origin story is freaking zombie flies. Hey, Britt, real quick, I want to ask you something.
yeah, what?
The Nazis, okay? Not related to anything. The Nazis. What was the Nazi symbol?
Swastika. No, swastika. Swastika? Oh, shit.
No.
Swastika.
Say it again. Say it again.
Swastika. What is it?
A swastika.
Swash?
No. It's
Swas.
No.
Swastika?
a swastika. I think that I couldn't hear clearly when we were recording episode 21.
No, I didn't pronounce it. Swastika.
You repeatedly call it a
Swastika?
swastika with a
Swastika?
swastika.
I think I throw 3 H's in there. Don't worry.
Swastika.
That's just
A
me.
swastika.
Swastika. Swastika. And I'll throw an R in there too. Swastika.
Swastika? It's almost like it's Spaceballs or something. Like it rhymes. I don't even know. It's just, and I was like, no, I was not mishearing. She is saying swastika.
I mean, I even
every
typed it
time.
up. I wrote it up.
SH?
Nope, that's just how I say it.
Swastika. You know what?
But I will make a point. Swash. Nope, that's
From
H
now
again.
on-
Swastika.
Things.
I will let you tell all of the Nazi stories.
I mean, sure, bring them. You got some Nazi ghost stories. Love to hear it.
Britt won't tell Schwarstickers.
Swastika. Oh my lord. Oh my lord. Well,
Oh, yeah. I've always called it that.
oh,
And
you have.
You know what?
Okay.
I think I just do this with lots of different things. Like, I've always thought it was a wheelbarrow. It's a wheelbarrow.
Oh,
Apparently.
Yeah, it is a wheelbarrow.
When I was a teenager, I used to call it a cellular telephone. And not it's a cellular telephone, not a secular.
like a secular.
Oh, it was just
telephone?
recently, literally just a few weeks ago. I was like the Millennial Falcon. It's the Millennium. Oh shit! I actually don't even know.
No,
if it's
you're
the
right.
Millennium
It is a
Falcon.
millennium. I mean, I'm not one to say.
Yeah, I've called it the Millennial Falcon my whole entire life until now.
There are words I just
Weeks ago.
avoid because I don't know how to say them. Or if I'm typing, I'm sure you do this, or writing, I'll be like, I don't know how to spell that word. Like, let's just find a synonym and type something else. Like necessary, any of those double letter ones, I'm like very bad.
Oh.
Necessary will forever haunt me. I don't know how to spell that. I never will. I just can't ever.
Interesting.
But I do say things like elementary.
You say like if your kid goes to elementary school, you call it elementary.
I call it elementary school. Elementary.
Every time, like a
Elementary.
British person.
I think
Oh,
my mom
that's
says it. I
precious.
think that's why it's a Jersey accent. I mean, just think that I don't even know documentary that like really flopped.
Documentary.
A documentary.
Documentary. Documentary is what I say.
I think
But I cut off words because I'm from the South.
documentary.
Or add H's.
Documentary. Yeah,
Documentary.
Documentary.
There's no three.
Well, I was watching a documentary the other day. It's about the Nazis, so there's lots of swastikas in there. Yeah. Yeah.
If
Wait.
you have an awesome
No.
story to
No.
What?
Just
What?
stop it right there.
Were we talking about something?
Shove
What?
your little dead fly bodies back into your face and hold up a minute.
What?
Can I tell you that you told me that you had a lighthearted,
That
tale
was
to
it.
end
That was
on?
my lighthearted.
No, a
Yeah.
lighthearted tale is my first tale, whatever that may have been. What was where people are stoned.
The time warp
and-
with
yeah,
the leaves around
that
the car.
is what a lighthearted tale is. zombie flies emerging from the corpses of other zombie flies is not lighthearted. That is just nightmares. So
yes, it is. That would not give me nightmares, but like a spooky, scary thing lurking in the corner of your room would give me
People
nightmares.
are going to be scared to kill flies now because they're going to they're going to reanimate.
Yes, I've done that for people. You're welcome.
Not lighthearted. Not my definition of lighthearted, Britt.
If anybody wants to gross Alissa out and send the goriest horror story about insects ever, what's our email?
It is SkeleTalesPodcast@gmail.com.
Or you can call and tell your story. And we are actually looking for 2 more spooky or interesting or fun stories. So if you've got one stewing in your brain, please call us. We really do want to hear from you. It is 302-689-DEAD. That's 302-689-3323.
You can also DM us on any of our socials. Our Instagram is SkeleTales Podcast. Our Twitter is at SkeleTales Pod. We have a Facebook group,
SkeleTales Community. We are a good family over there.
Yeah.
It's fun. We
Go
laugh
like
a lot.
our SkeleTales page. Support us in all the ways. Like, subscribe, review, share.
One other way that you can support this show, which is huge, go over to our merch shop. We have a new, fresh, shiny, beautiful merch shop, and we've got t-shirts, mugs, notebooks, and prints of Alissa's own illustrations. We've got awesome stuff over there.
Britt has worked so hard. It looks so beautiful. Please patronize. Or you could also, if you like, buy us a drink. Buy us a coffee, a virtual drink. Help
that's on there too.
Keep the podcast going with our hosting fees and whatnot.
But literally, it will probably just pay for our
drinks.
hosting fees.
Do you like this liquid
that cocktail?
courage, the entertainment quality. We should, if people buy us drinks, that should be the challenge. However many drinks people buy us, we should drink that many before a podcast or in a podcast and then try to record.
Yes. Done.
Amnesia.
Fucking
Right? That's
done.
not a bad idea.
Oh my God. Just so everybody knows, 2 drinks and I'm to the wind. So if you buy 4 drinks, that will be a very interesting episode.
Yes. Also, 4 drinks for Britt is like 30 for me because I'm half her size.
Yes, that's so true.
It's very hard to keep up with that, Britt. Because
I love this idea.
I think that sounds like a fun time. So if you also think that sounds like a fun time, you should go over. You can go over. It's on Etsy, right? Is where the buy me a drink is, or can you do it through Facebook?
It is SkeleTales Podcast on Etsy.
Yeah, there we are.
Easy peasy.
There we are. We're all over the place.
There we are. Or honestly, go up to our socials, then you'll see all the links there too. It's fine. We're everywhere. This has been fun. I had a good time tonight. I had a good
time too, Britt. We just hang out, man. That's what we do. And then we're like, we have a podcast that we're trying to.
Oh, great. It's 2.5 hours in. Oh, we got poor Alissa. Cut it off.
We really consolidate the tangents. Once we are in it, we like really commit to that tangent. And we're like, well, let's just have this conversation out. We'll come back to the podcast when we're ready and we've exhausted this tangent.
Hey, Alissa.
Yeah, Brett. What? Oh,
Alissa.
What's up? What's up?
Have a good night.
Oh, thanks, Brett. Hey, haunt you later.
Haunt y'all later.
Good night.